are you today? It's so good to see you again. It's been a little while since I've been live and I'm glad to have you with me. As you know, or maybe you don't, but I have been in Ireland for the past 2 weeks on my honeymoon. So I recorded videos the last few weeks and I'm finally back live with you today. It's been kind of crazy trying to get back into the swing of things. I won't lie, it's a little bit of a slow back into the swing of my day-to-day, but I'm getting there, and I figured today I would share with you a little bit of some of the wins, the fails, and the amazingness of my trip to Ireland. So I have a few things that I wanted to talk to you about today and show you. Let me get them set up if I can. There we are. So, if you don't already know me, I'm Suzanna Kaye. I am with Spark Organizing, and I come to you live once a week, Thursday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I talk to you about the mental shifts that help make your day a little bit better. I talk about organizing tips, productivity ideas, digital apps, products that you might want to know about, all that stuff. Every week it's something different. Live right here. If you don't already know me, I'm a lover of mountain hikes, inspirational quotes, and cat memes and GIFs. Yeah, I am one of those people who make all the cat memes and GIFs popular, although I try to only laugh all by myself in my couch instead of sharing every single one that I think is hilarious. But feel free, blast my page with cat stuff because it makes me giggle. But I won't do that to everybody else. It's so good to see you guys. I see we've got Mary is here and Mary is here. Mary Hendrick and Mary Ellis. Great to see you. And board games, yes, that's right, Mary Ellis. Board games I love. They are one of my, not only hobbies, but probably addictions. It's probably at the point of unhealthy, but I do have a game group and I go to game conventions. Very much a nerd. Thanks so much, Ruth. I've got my Ireland shirt on. I got this in Ireland. It's actually a real team shirt from one of the local sports clubs in Ireland, and I just thought that was super fantastic. So good to see you all. Sorry, I'm stepping closer to see some of those quotes because I'm getting old. I can't see that well from such a distance. I am also the creator of 365. If you've not heard of the 365 Project, hop on over to my365project.com, and it's a great place. It's one of the few programs out there where you don't have to actually do anything to get the effects of this. So it does not add on to another to-do item of the day besides reading a super quick, less than 5-minute email each day, and the rest will sort of unfold for you. There won't be any pressure to do a whole lot of action items or anything like that. Just try it out, hop on over, see what it's about. This week is our How She Does It week. It's week, I believe, 4 of May. Like I said, I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. Week 4, it's How She Does It. So I'll be talking a little bit today about sort of the how she did it of travel to Ireland and a little bit about the Ireland trip. I'm also going to answer one of the biggest questions I had was, what apps did I use while I traveled and how did that work for me? So I'm wrapping that into the How She Does It of this week. I wanted to do my shout outs. First off, we have some new subscribers through YouTube. I'm so glad to see you all. We have Nomi, Lisa, Margaret, John, Droza, Sebring, and Carolyn. Thank you so much for being part of this group. I absolutely love having you here, and please comment on the videos, like them, let me know what you think. I always want to know how to make them better. So, have any of you ever been to Ireland? I figured I'd start off, since so many people have asked a little bit more about my trip. If you've been to Ireland, I'd love to hear what your favorite things were. We did some of the top things and some of the off the beaten path things that were simply surprising and that we never knew about. So I was on my honeymoon with my sweetie, Jeff, who I call my moose pie. He's my Canadian love. And we were amazed at the 2 weeks that we spent in Ireland, you normally think of Ireland as just being green. It's the Emerald Isle, it's got fields of green, it's got sheep, and yes, it has a lot of sheep. There are sheep everywhere, like it just rained sheep. It is really awesome. But we were surprised at all of the different landscapes that are actually in Ireland. We would drive for an hour, and this was more of a road trip. So we'd drive for an hour, and it would be a completely different landscape than what we were just in. They have so much variation, and I never knew that. So it's really exciting. We started in Dublin, then drove across to Galway on the west side, and then made an arc all across Northern Ireland back to Dublin. So we got to see a whole lot of stuff. I'll probably do another live on the Spark page about how to travel for 2 weeks with that much luggage and not have to cart your entire luggage back and forth into your Airbnb, which is what we did each time, because for 2 weeks I did want to make sure that I had everything that I needed, but I did not want to cart my huge suitcase back in. So that is one thing that I'll probably do a live when we're not talking digital about. But my Ireland trip was just amazing. I'll show you a couple things. The landscapes, there's some places that I'd never heard of before, like the Burren. And because our wedding got rained out, which was hilarious, and we would not change a thing, but I mean, we did a July wedding in a park in Orlando. We were kind of asking for it. But that meant that we did not get a whole lot of photos. Our professional photographer was awesome. He got what he could, but in an absolute monsoon where the rain was going sideways and a normally empty stream was almost overflowing, there's only so much you can do. So we did not get a lot of photos. So we did hire a professional photographer in Ireland. I carted my dress all the way over to Ireland to get some photos so that we could have some wedding photos. But here are a few. Let's see if I can do this. I know it's kind of reflecting, I just need a better screen protector, but this is the Burren. So it's an entire area that's unique in Ireland that's all rock. I had no idea that there were parts of it that were not just all green. And this is another part of the Burren that meets the ocean, and it's rock that goes right into the ocean with that amazing sea spray. Okay, that was cold. That was ridiculous cold, but we sucked it up and had the sea spray all over us, and that dress weighed probably about 30 pounds more after this photo shoot because it was so heavy, but we laughed the whole time. And of course, I eat my way through any country, and this time I was obsessed with crazy snacks. So I got some chips that are Tato chips. We also slept in a teepee. This is an American Indian style teepee that they had in the middle of a field in Ireland with the sweetest Airbnb hosts. So we slept in a teepee. And along with that teepee, it was on a working farm. So they were nice enough to do a little photo shoot for us. We also would find like random castles. So not all the castles out there are ones that people really pay attention to. So we're driving down the road. At the end of this road, there's chickens on the lawn. You can see the chickens and a castle just in the back of some guy's farm. So it's very random. We also learned to scoop peat bricks and how they dry peat for their fire. And in case you didn't see, this one's my honey, my moose pie, Jeff. And of course, as Mary mentioned, we managed to find a game store in Ireland. We were good. We did not buy a bunch of games because we'd have to ship them back because there's just only so much room. And Guinness Factory is a must. These are the narrow roads. Okay, this is about a car width of a road, but it's a two-way road. So half the trip was me holding the OS handle in the car, trying not to scream, as Jeff is driving on the wrong side of the road, well, the right side there, the wrong side to me. And we're trying to fit 2 cars down a 1-car road sometimes, because cars would come screaming past you. Then there's the things like the Cliffs of Moher. We just did some fun stuff. So those are some of our pictures. But that's the basics of our Ireland trip. Just wanted to share a few of those. I've had so many questions about the trip to Ireland and what different experiences we had. And if you've not been to Ireland, I see that you've got a bucket list item. Yes, it's amazing. Move it up on your bucket list. Gotta go. But that's Ireland. While I was there though, I wanted to share with you, there are a few apps that totally saved my skin, because my goal was to just connect as much as humanly possible, of course, because it's my honeymoon. Like, I did not want to work, and I have an amazing team who support me, and they manage so much. My organizers were spot on. They all handled things with the clients. They made all the greatest decisions. The clients were happy. The organizers were happy. My scheduler and assistant, Mary, is amazing. I believe you're on, Mary. Hey, Mary Hendrick. Thank you so much for making my life so much easier while I was on my honeymoon. You're such a blessing. But there were still some things that I had to do. And Ruth, of course, my admin Ruth makes everything so much easier on the technical end and with social media and making sure none of the balls drop there with social media and blog and all the fun stuff with 365. So I had a huge support team, which is helpful. Small but mighty. Thank you, Mary. But while I was on the road, I wanted to make sure that I did still have my finger on the pulse of my business, and there were certain apps that really helped me do this. So I figured I would cover some of the apps that saved my skin and some of the things that were, I did not realize that was going to happen moments. First off, as I'm on the road, all of a sudden I have a client who calls and wants a copy of the audio from her idea session like a year ago, which is awesome. I have no problem providing that. Normally though, it used to be on a hard drive in my office, which means that she would not have been able to get that audio for 2 weeks. Thankfully, I had just moved everything from that hard drive. I was trying to get rid of all hard drives except for the ones that needed to be separate. Things like tax information I keep on a separate hard drive. But everything else I just moved over to my Dropbox. So it was awesome. I just sent her idea session file. She got exactly what she needed with all of the notes that we had from the idea session so she could move forward with some other projects in her home with the direction that I'd given her. And she was thrilled that I was on my honeymoon and able to still get that to her within minutes. I was thrilled that I was on my honeymoon, and during the time that my husband was in the shower, I was able to manage that client thing like immediately. Thankfully, we had Wi-Fi nearby, but if not, then whenever I attached to Wi-Fi again, it would be super easy to just connect. Next was, okay, if you're paperless or if you do anything online, passwords. You know me and passwords. So LastPass did save me so much during my Ireland trip. Now, one thing I've learned on a previous trip about LastPass is check your security settings before you go. Because I know me, I have some of the higher security settings, not like the uber high settings, which I've set up for some clients. So I don't have like 2 levels of authentication on everything and double lockdowns and all that. But I do have in my settings certain countries that are allowed to log in and every other country is excluded. So I found out one time when I went on a trip, I don't even know where I went, probably the Caribbean or something, but I had things excluded, some countries excluded from my LastPass, which meant that, well, when I was in the country, I could not log in because I was showing as being in that country, which is super awesome because that keeps most hackers out. If I'm only accepting US and Canada, which are the 2 places that I travel the most, then the majority of the hackers aren't even in the US and Canada. They're not in North America. So I love that security setting. But this trip I was smart. This trip I remembered to accept Ireland, and I went ahead and accepted Scotland and Great Britain also, just because I was going to be in that general area, and who knows. Like, we aren't super planners about our days. We kind of fly by the seat of our pants. So it was very probable that I could end up in Scotland. But I did hop into my LastPass and I opened up those 3 countries to be able to view from my LastPass passwords. That worked so much better this time because last time being locked out was very frustrating and it was my own fault. So LastPass, total butt saver. Like, I was able to access everything I needed. That's also where I kept a copy of my passport. All of my travel information was in there, all of my rewards numbers, and all the stuff that I might need, just in case of emergency. So that way I'm not traveling around with a paper copy of my passport either, just because that makes me a little ooky. Like, if I lose that, then I'm completely out of luck. And I am the type where if it's a paper, I might lose it when I'm traveling. So I loved having that right on my phone, but on lockdown. So LastPass totally saved my tuchus. I also had a contract that came in that needed my signature while I was gone. And yeah, I probably could have pushed it off for 2 weeks, but it was something that somebody else was waiting on, and I did not want to push them off too far, especially because it's a contract that was going to be beneficial for both of us. So I wanted to get this back to them. So SANE Now, SIGNNOW, it's an app, and it allowed me to create a signable PDF from what they sent me, add my digital signature right from my phone, and send it right back to them, including a copy back to my email address. So I was able to sign that contract within minutes without having to print it up, sign it, and scan it. And also, I mean, that saves paper at home. So I use SANE Now a lot when I don't want to waste paper by printing something just to sign it. So super awesome app, SANE Now. So you can sign things on the run, and whether you're traveling or not, you don't need a printer. So SANE Now saved my tuchus. Also, you know me. As I mentioned, if I have a paper and I'm traveling, I am very likely to lose it or just get annoyed by the fact that I have to carry it. Like, I hate paper. I love taking notes on paper. I'm a paper brainstormer. I consume tons of paper and notebooks and for creative ideas and planning. But when it comes to actually keeping the paper, it irritates me. So while I was on my trip, I was able to use Genius Scan. Now, Genius Scan helped me to not fill out my photo album with pictures of different things that I wanted to be able to refer back to, because it's always annoying having to go back to your photos and delete all of the stuff that's not actually a photo or not actually an image that you want. It's a photo of a paper. So I did not want to fill that up with all of my documents. What I did use it for is I used Genius Scan, and I could take pictures of directions, and this was probably one of our almost fails. It was a mini fail, but it worked out. So in Ireland, it turns out there are a number of places where the cell signal is zero, like dead, kaput, GPS is not happening. So thankfully, the important places, I had used Genius Scan to scan the directions to where we needed to go for where we were at the end of the day and kind of the maps. Because when the GPS goes out, you're kind of running blind. And for the most part, we were good because Google kind of uploaded it ahead of time, and as long as we didn't need to reroute a bunch, it still managed to keep up with us. But there were a few times where it was just a comfort to know that I had in my Genius Scan storage files the directions to where we needed to go by the end of the day, so that way, cell signal or none, it would not be lost. So, semi-fail, failed to think about the fact that my cell signal would not be as rugged as it is here. It's not quite as robust. And there were definitely huge times where we had no signal at all, but we managed. I also was able to keep non-paper copies of all of the plans that we made. Now, we're not big planners. We didn't have, 2 p.m. we're going to the dark hedges and things like that. We didn't really even have what we were doing each day, because we tend to be the type of people who goes to the local pub and asks the people there, okay, what should we see? What do people not normally know about? And kind of, if it was you, where would you go? We found amazing places that way that are not on any TripAdvisor list anywhere. Some great hikes up to 360 views, random castles, chickens, sheep, everything that we never would have found without asking somebody at a pub or somebody who was running a service, like we did a horseback ride. And the horseback guy was awesome. He drew us handwritten maps and told us all kinds of insider information about where to go. But our plans as far as what Airbnb we were staying at, instructions for contacting the owner, things like that, Genius Scan helped me keep all of that paperless. Also, like our brainstorming things, places that we wanted to go if we could fit it in. Genius Scan. So that way I'm not carrying a whole bunch of paper with me, because that's one way to irritate me, for sure. Now, I did say that that did not fill up my photos. Thank goodness. Photos, though, were so much fun because not only were we taking photos, and I'm a huge photograph person. Like, if you see my house, I have frames of photos everywhere. We've got a digital photo frame, which we love to see. So using Google Photos was super fun because we created a shared album. And we shared the album just with our family because our parents were all excited that we were on our honeymoon. They'd not been to Ireland. And my sister, some of his family, we just shared the album with family that would be interested in some of the highlights. So at the end of each day, I was able to pop photos over into Google Photos, add some comments if I wanted to, and then they could comment on the photos too. It's like a private Facebook for photos or private Instagram, just between the family. And that was so much fun. And now I have this little photo album with all of our comments forever, which is awesome. So Google Photos was super, super fun. And Mary, he said, would a jetpack have helped when there was no cell signal? Not really, because there's no signal for it to pick up on. So the jetpack would also have just kind of bounced around and looked for a signal, and it was just too weak. There weren't cell towers in a lot of the areas that we were in, or maybe very weak cell towers. So the jetpack would have had the same problem that the cell phone had. It just wasn't a signal. And then finally, because it was my honeymoon, I really wanted to just let all of the day-to-day go. I did not want to think about the to-dos. I did not want to, worry about ideas that I had that I wanted to share with 365. These are the types of things that I love doing during my week when I'm home, but it was not appropriate for my honeymoon, so Todoist became my best friend. Todoist is my to-do list manager, so it was my great place. I could just drop it into the inbox. I did not have to file it, categorize it, or anything. I just dropped ideas, dropped to-do items, all of that stuff right into that inbox. And then when I got home, I could sort it then. So letting things go at first was a challenge, but with Todoist, I was able to save that information so I did not feel like my brain had to keep on holding on to it. So if you don't have these, I'd say get these set up now or something similar. You might not want Todoist, you might want Remember the Milk, whatever, something similar, but these are things that really helped me when traveling out of the country or traveling in general. And they're kind of the foundational things. These are the things that just made life so much easier. So I'd say that these are the ones that kind of do first and make them the foundation of your digital life before you worry about some of those quirky, kitschy apps that are a little bit more off base and kind of out there. So to review, Dropbox or something similar, super essential for documents. LastPass and Open It Up so that the country that you are in is allowed. Sign Now, so that way if you do have to do a signature on something, then you're already set up and can do it right from your phone. Genius Scan, so you aren't carrying all those papers around with you. And Google Photos, so that way not only can you save your photos and automatically upload them to the cloud, which is nice if I'd lost my camera or my phone. Even if I destroyed it, I would not have lost my photos because they were all uploaded to the cloud. And great for sharing and commenting. And then finally, a to-do list manager. I use Todoist. Those helped make the trip so much better. I'd love to hear, when you travel, which apps do you use to make it easier? Because I'm always looking for some good apps, and I'm sure that everybody here could really benefit from your experience too. So mention in the comments below what apps are your go-tos, because we all need that solid foundation to make life easier. Finally, I know that not everybody is 100% trusting in apps and an app lover quite yet, not as much as I am. I've been using them for so long now that I've learned to trust them. This was not always the case. So sometimes you just need to take a leap of faith and test it at the same time. My advice is usually go ahead and print the paper documents that you feel that you can't live without and that you don't trust to an app. but also scan them, whether it's into Genius Scan or something like LastPass for something that you might need password protection on. Scan those papers and get the apps going so that way you can try the app first when you're on the road. Don't go for the paper first thing. See if you can solve it with the app and use the app for that information. And then your paper is your backup. It's your security blanket and your safety net in case the app does not work for you, or in case you have a hiccup with an app, like you forgot to open up that country with LastPass and now you can't get your passwords. You can have your safety net until you've worked out the kinks and gotten used to it. But do try the apps first. Still use those even if you feel like you want to bring your paper, just to get in the habit of it. Because the more you practice using apps and going paperless, the more you will trust it. But you have to just do it. You have to try it in order to trust it. So take a leap of faith, whatever your comfort level is, test it out, and it will help so much. Now, if you want to know more of my favorite apps for productivity, it's really easy. Just send a text to the number 44222. So that's 44222. So send to that number and you're going to send the word discovering, like discovering new apps. So send the word discovering to 44222 and I will send you my favorite apps for productivity and how I use them a little differently or to work within a productivity concept. So it goes a little bit more in depth than just a list of apps. I'll send that right over to you if you text that to me. Also, I hope you join me again. Every Thursday I am here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in London, that's 4 p.m. Thank you so much, Mary. I am glad that you liked all the great ideas. I love sharing these things and I love learning from you. So go ahead, dump some ideas on me. Let me know your favorites. I am Suzanna Kaye with Spark Organizing. I am also the creator of 365 Project. Like I said, none of us need another thing to do in our life, right? Like the to-do list is already super full. So by joining 365 Project, I'm not adding another to-do to your list. I'm simply giving you a way to make that mental shift in your mind that will translate to change in your home. It's a subtle mind shift with just a quick email a day, under 5 minutes, won't clutter your inbox, super quick. But just by reading this email each day, your mind will start to think in a new way over time. So check out 365 Project. It also has some great ideas for organizing, concepts. We have a private Facebook group where we encourage each other. Once you do get to an action item that you do want to do, you've got a whole support team right there for you. And you get exclusive access to me that nobody else gets with your own private Facebook Live, which they're super active, fun Facebook Lives. So check out my365project.com to find out more. It's the easiest way to make a permanent change in your life and your home. Now remember, as I say all the time, if you're procrastinating, think, it's not that hard, it won't take that long, I'm sure I can do it or learn as I go, and nobody will judge me. These 4 things will help you get past most of those procrastination blocks. You guys totally rock. I love all of you. I love seeing you here. I'm glad you stopped by today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Leave a comment below if there's anything that sparked your imagination, and keep doing what you're doing because you are doing great. I will see you next week, and I love you all. Bye.